Hey guys. We have the beautiful baseball and the team.
Yes, we do.
Team in the house. So welcome everybody to our August 18th City Commission meeting. We'll call this meeting to order, and if you would, please rise as we have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. As we begin this meeting, let us all take a moment to reflect together, each according to our own individual beliefs and intentions. So be it. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nikki. All right, we'll move on to our presentations portion of our agenda. The first item is the presentation of our new community policing officers for the city of Dunedin. Deputy Brian Kamadeka, did I say that right?
Hey.
And Teresa will introduce the new CPOs and traffic officers. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Teresa Smalling, Director of HR and Risk Management for the city. I'm coming to you in the capacity of city liaison to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. We have recently had some changes in our community policing deputies, or CPOs as we like to call them. And so Deputy Brian Kamadeka is here to introduce our two newest CPDs.
Hello,
Welcome.
everybody. How are you this evening?
Welcome.
So, our two newest CPOs to the city are Deputy Marquise Fitzgerald. He is a community policing deputy, and he replaced Deputy Christy Campion. And then we have Deputy Ephraim Basous, who is one of your traffic deputies. So, when you get pulled over, that's the guy that's doing it. So, we appreciate your time this evening and wanted you guys to meet everybody.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the team. Jennifer, did you have any remarks?
Well, actually, we were just in the conference room introducing ourselves to each other, talking about the hours that they're going to be on shift and talking a little bit about Dunedin when we're in season versus in the off season and those types of things. And they've both been with the agency for a while. So know the agency, know some of the workings of the city of Dunedin and those types of things. So I'm really excited about a new generation, if you will. And also working with Brian. He's the other generation. He's like, yeah,
Don't put up
maybe of our generation and that type of a thing. But we were talking a
You're
little
in
bit.
good company. Just saying.
We were talking about bike patrols on the Pinellas Trail and those types of things. So Teresa will continue to be our liaison, and everything will flow to the sheriff's office through Teresa from all of us. So we're going to miss Terrence, as everybody knows, but looking forward to what we're going to do moving forward. So thanks. Sorry.
Anybody else have any comments? I know you do.
Well, no, of course I do. I just met the gentleman too, and so Brian and I'm just calling you Brian. I'm not even trying to say your last name right.
Well, you saw me
I never
stumble
do.
over
Too
it.
hard.
And Marquis and Ephraim. Yes. Right. And anyway, no, I mean I always say like we just want to give you the Dunedin love. You have such an important role, and people getting to know you and in every aspect of our community is really important. So we want to welcome you, and you both look like really nice guys, and I know you're going to be great. So appreciate all.
I'm sure he doesn't look nice when he's walking up to the window.
Yeah, not the
You'll be fine because you're working with like great businesses and neighborhoods. But this one, everybody will be like, oh.
I want him to remember my face when
Yeah,
he
yeah.
stops. See how nice they are. Anyway, no, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Anybody
stopping by,
else? Any
guys.
comments?
Well, I consider myself warned.
Yeah.
The policeman that's.
She's the worst driver on
I
the.
am the worst
You'll get to know her
driver, it's
personally.
okay.
Yeah.
But, welcome, and community policing is a very integral part of our sense of place and how we feel and how we interact in Dunedin. So we hope you'll be very happy here, and we welcome you.
Anybody else?
Sure. I just want to formally welcome you from Dais. Had a chance to talk with you a little bit before. And I certainly am big on safety and security, so I just love seeing you guys here. And welcome to a great community.
Welcome. We are really glad that you're here. So.
Thank you, guys. We look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, we have the Dunedin High School Falcon baseball team in the house. And most of you, if you're not here and you're watching, understand just what a phenomenal baseball community that we really are. So I'm going to turn this presentation in recognition over to our school liaison, Commissioner Jeff Gap.
We are a baseball town.
Stand up and show your shirt.
Oh,
He's showing us.
so many things I could do with that statement. Proud alumni, class of 79.
83 over here. He's older than me. Just saying.
Daughters were class of 11 and 13. So, but we are a baseball town, and we always have been. For the 1920s, sandlot ball was played at the lot where Meese Hospital is now. And when Dr. Meese decided to build a hospital there, it was decided to tear down a bunch of trees at the corner of Douglas and Beltrees, and where Grant Field was. And baseball continued with league ball, specifically from the Northeast, coming down and playing. Then we had Little League that started there in the 50s, and then we had Fisher Field start up in the 60s. And the quiz, I've got a pop-up quiz for you tonight. Hopefully you guys will pass this with flying colors. Minor league baseball is to Major League Baseball as Little League, Dunedin Little League is to what? Oh, Dunedin High School.
Call it out.
Dunedin High School. No, our Little League has always been that kind of minor league for growing up through the ranks and hopefully onto the baseball team. I did my best on that question. But if I could actually have Coach McCarty, God, I stumbled over that. I'm sorry, Coach. Coach, come up, and Principal James Kiblinger, come up, and how about Assistant Principal Chris Settle? Chris, are you here?
Yes, he is.
All right.
So, Coach,
And I'll have the coach ask the guys to come up, but eventually everybody's coming up. And I'm going to sidebar a little bit, and I'm going to give the principal just a little bit of time to brag about the high school in general. So what's going on at the high school?
Well, Mayor Bajowski and City Commissioners, we are thrilled with the year that we had with 21-22. We actually came out with a school grade of a B this year, and we haven't had a B since 2015. So we're excited to school B until we found out that we were 6 percentage points away from an A.
That's awesome.
But we were the top high school with the B, and we only had 5 schools that were above us. They were all the program schools, the IB, the fundamental programs that had those set. So we were the top school out of all of the other 16 that we have, and we're thrilled with that being that B+. But looking for the A this year. We also had the only student in the arts in the county, and this isn't even with the county school with the arts. Got the Scholar Award, and this is a scholastic award that they give a gold key. I got to go to Carnegie Hall with the family, and she got her award there. And we've had that ongoing since 1999, and it was our student at Dunedin High School that carried that tradition on. She was the only one this year from Pinellas County to get that. We also had our NJROTC. Went to nationals. They took 3rd overall in their orienteering up in Cincinnati. They said it was too cold up there in April, but they did well. Also, our Armed Guard also took 2nd. In the nationals with their competition, and we had the unarmed exhibition team took 5th, and Ari, one of our juniors, actually took 1st in the nation with the commands when they do the different calls, and they had all the different ranks. They had all the schools in the nation there, and he took 1st, so we were thrilled to have that. Throughout our music program, we had superiors straight through with our chorus. Falconeers took superiors with the state competition. Same thing with the band. The marching band did an outstanding job in the orchestra. We're looking forward to that success this year. As we went through the spring, and these just continue, but as we went through the spring, we ended up getting the district title in tennis. The first time we've had it since 2011. The girls softball team took districts again for the third time in a row. And then the boys baseball team, who actually started with fall ball under Coach McCarty and Coach Kippen, started coming to school 3 days a week at 6 in the morning. They were driving in these cars, they were doing their workouts, and that started in, was it August or September?
September.
September, and they did all that work all the way through the fall and played fall ball, and actually got to play some of the top competition that would come down to get their spring play and their fall play, and just outstanding success. It was fun to go down to Baseball City and see these teams that were coming down from New York, and all the scouts that are looking at those pitchers, and all of a sudden, you guys knocked out the top pitcher in, the second inning? Mm-hmm. I think it was just incredible. We went through the season. They'd had a great job all the way through. District title, regional title, made it to the semifinals. And then at graduation, we were at graduation, thank you very much. The baseball team was down at Fort Myers, and they had a storm. That team had to finish their game, which ended up finishing at about 11. Well, their game finished at about 11:30. We finally got the field, got to warm up. I was not down there. You were. And I think they took the field at about 11:57 at night. And then the final game ended at about 2 something. So Coach McCarty, if you'd like to introduce the players and anything else that I forgot to add, to throw in there.
Welcome.
Oh, also we had 2 seniors on the team.
I know,
Seniors.
and they missed their graduation.
They missed their graduation. They were down there, and it was sad that they lost that. And now we have a number of students that want to be at Dunedin High School, but we had 2 seniors, so that was it. That's all the room they had. Okay.
Great. We're just super grateful to all our guys and their parents, because I know that those 6 a.m. workouts are not easy to be motivated to do. And these guys bought in early on, and obviously their hard work shows. And so I'm just super grateful for the guys and our coaching staff and just the school to support Dunedin baseball. And this year we're looking to go one more game after what we went. So all the way to states and winning it this year. So these guys are motivated and ready to go. So thank you all for allowing us to be here today. And
Introduce them.
Awesome. I'll introduce them. So we've got Brandon Callis right here. We've got Tristan Rogers.
Can you also name position, please?
Pitcher, Brandon Callis. Outfielder, Tristan Rogers. Outfielder, Grayson McNeil. Third baseman, Rock Helton. We'll go short, second, third.
All around,
First.
wherever you want them.
Right and left. Pitcher, Brian Lewis.
Utility player.
Yeah, utility. We've got second base and pitcher, Jack Johnson. Second, third, and pitcher, Tristan Rogers, and a little bit of outfield as well. We've got Luke Oster, who actually had to fill in the outfield in the middle of a game because of a couple injuries. And he practiced at second base, but worked extremely hard during practice as well in the outfield, just helping us out, and came in and played outfield during the playoffs for us, and also was a great pinch runner for us as well. We've got Colton Beard, who plays infield and also pitches. We've got Jeremiah Tokar, who is a catcher, who also ran bases for us. Will Fallon, who plays third base, a little bit of short and pitches as well. We've got Luke Smith, who caught for us. And then we've got Noah Cleveland, who played outfield, ran a few bases, and pitched. And then not here tonight are 2 seniors, Josiah Branch, who pitched for us, played shortstop. Caleb Lawson, who pitched for us. We've got Trey Beard, who pitched and played first for us. And it's good to have Trey Beard. And then we have Brady Byers, who is a catcher for us. And A.J. Shelton, who pitched and played outfield.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
And Coach, how long have you been at the high school?
That last year was my first year. And then let me also introduce our other coaches here as well. We've got Josh Morgan, who's an assistant coach, and Davis Kippen as well. And then JT Donald, who's also an assistant coach, who he just had his first baby, so he's not here tonight.
Yeah, this comes second.
McCarty also had his first baby, Oakland, with Lynn. So he has a baby daughter, and JT just had their baby last week. So
Great.
That's
All right, let's give these boys a round of applause.
Scooch.
All right, yeah, we want to get a picture.
these guys are outstanding on the field in the classroom. They're just great citizens.
Well, and then you're going to have to turn around because Antonella, not yet, but Antonella's going to want a picture back there too.
You got two of those.
Get that trophy in there.
And it's so amazing because transition is hard, especially in sports with coaches. And the fact that you can have that transition in your coaching staff and still achieve what you guys achieved your first year really is amazing.
It's phenomenal.
And so it's real kudos to the coach, but equally to you guys, because that's where it comes in. Different coaches, different mentalities, philosophies, and you guys had to adjust to that. So I think it speaks volumes to the character of the players and you guys. So well done. Well done.
So turn around because I think Antonella's back there. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming and thanks for your hard work.
And Mayor, if I may,
Yeah.
and I did forget to acknowledge this, but the president of the Dunedin High School Baseball Fan Club is here.
Yes.
Jack Greenfield.
Oh, cool.
So,
Booster extraordinaire.
yeah. So well done. Thank you, Jack, for everything that you do.
And of course, thanks to all the parents for all the hard work. I had football and wrestling. Kills you. For sure. Very good. Well, thank you, Commissioner Gale, for bringing that forward.
Thanks for recognizing Jack, because he
Yeah,
is
I was
the
going to
fan
tell you. I
extraordinaire.
know. I saw him back
He's
there.
such a
He really
fan
is.
extraordinaire. I didn't see
He
him
really
back.
is. Okay, before we go on to anything else, Jennifer is going to give us an update on Roxbury, right?
On Roxbury, yes, absolutely.
Roxbury, sorry.
And I know that we have some residents from the area here this evening, so that's kind of you, Mayor, to move it up, so they don't have to sit through all the annexations and the
That's right.
micromobility ordinance and all those sorts of things, so.
Yeah. Right.
I wouldn't want to be sitting here all night either, if I were you.
Yeah.
I needed to
Yeah, you
clarify
have
that. I like to
do
sit
have
here,
to.
but, you know,
Especially in those chairs.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I can give you a kind of a broad stroke overview of where we are, and I'm going to break it down into three parts.
Okay.
First of all, staff resources that we've dedicated to the issue. Second of all, kind of our legal status right now, as far as gaining entry to the whole of the structure, and the backyard as well, and then kind of our maintenance status, where we are, some of the things that we've done in the intervening period to address the maintenance issues. So first of all, as far as staff resources go, I get a biweekly update on exactly where we are from Nicole Delfino. She's as you know, the assistant to the city manager, and she is liaising with the residents. And we spoke earlier, and they want additional contact, and I'll make sure that that happens. As far as code compliance goes, we have our new code supervisor is on the property. She's coordinating with some of the county agencies, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. Legally, we've hired a probate attorney, which we spoke about last time when we were all here together. Her name is Lauren Rubenstein, and Nikki is kind of watching over that process. And so as far as the legal status goes, and Nikki, I'm sure will contribute when needed. As I said, the file has been turned over to Lauren Rubenstein. Now, the file was with our previous attorney, and we had a very difficult time getting the file, obtaining the file. We did finally, after repeated phone calls and a couple emails directly to the partners of that firm. So we have the file. The file, once we got it, was incomplete. A case had not been opened at that point. There was to be an air search done, and the air search was actually only done on the maternal side and not the paternal side of the original property owner, and that is Miss Jean Vallon, I think it is. And so we have been notified by Ms. Rubenstein that we need to do the paternal air search as well. The maternal air search, I actually did pick up one air in France. Apparently Ms. Vallon was originally from France. That particular person had contacted an attorney in the United States, and his name is Keith Strunen. Mr. Strunen was contacted for about a month by Lauren Rubenstein regarding this property, and actually did return the phone call to her recently. So what we're trying to do is to put this in English and not legalese, is go through that air to get permission to get on the property, first and foremost, and that meaning the backyard, predominantly in the structure itself. So we are gonna do the air search for the paternal side as well, and eventually the estate has to be open in John's name with an open case in the courts, and then the court will name a representative, and then we can get on the property. We did have our building division, I forgot our building division as a resource as well, sorry about that, Joey, to have a look at the structure to see if it would merit an emergency order under the criteria of the Florida Building Code, I think, for an emergency order to go on site, and it does not. And so we need to go through the court system and continue through the court system, which we are doing. As far as the maintenance status goes, it is being mowed every other week, and if it's not like last time, we'll send somebody out. Nicole is going by the property to have a look. We did hire a maintenance company and told them it's of utmost importance that you maintain the front yard. Julie Phillips did contact both two agencies. First of all, the FWC, the Florida Wildlife Commission, to see about the raccoons and wildlife in the area. They don't actually do that. Apparently, catch raccoons and relocate them or anything like that. And animal control was the same way. Apparently, Pinellas County Animal Control, I guess they chase down strays. They don't chase down,
I can
critters.
verify that. They do not do raccoons.
Right.
Yeah, they don't do critters.
So thank you there. But, it's funny because out of all of this, the one agency that had the most ability to actually get on site and get in the backyard was mosquito control.
Mosquito district.
Yeah, mosquito district. And they did get in the backyard. They had a look at the pool, and we do have we call them the gambusha. Yeah, gambusha fish are in the pool, and they eat the mosquitoes. As far as draining the pool, we wouldn't recommend that because it'll pop and crack out of the ground, and so that would cause damage to the estate, which is might be a problem for the city of Dunedin moving forward in the future. That is our status. We are continuing with the case. I have staff resources allocated to this case. It is slow. I agree. Unfortunately, we had to go through the courts, but Ms. Rubenstein is aware of how important this is to us and to the residents in the area, and we'll continue to push. And I will commit to you that we will contact you more frequently when we have made progress, and even if we haven't made progress. Most of all, besides what we're doing in the front yard, is paperwork and pushing to get this through the court system.
Can you tell us how long it'll take to do an air search? Or the maternal side or whatever?
I don't candidly know, but the update from Lauren as of today, I think, was that, or yesterday, was that she is able to leverage some of the CAF that has been done, and working with the same company should be able to expedite that and be able to keep the city locked in to the same rates from 2020.
So are we talking about weeks, months? What do we think?
Weeks.
I have weeks rather than months, but I can reach out to Lauren and then send a message to the city commission on an estimated time frame. I mean, just looking at how long did the maternal side take?
I think that Lauren's going to be a whole lot more aggressive than
Obviously.
previously. So, and we'll push.
But I can see. I will ask if I will see if.
Is your microphone on?
Oh, I don't believe she.
I thought you meant she on Zoom.
That's what I thought you were asking too. Sorry about that, Commissioner. So we can find out an estimated time for the commission on how
And the
long it
residents.
should take, and the resident. Yes.
Now, is the search of the new air, does that slow down? I assume that slows down the timeline. And they've already have one air. And so is there a different timeline? If we weren't doing that search, it had been done? Is this extending the search or the timeline on this whole
Yes.
thing?
It was only half completed.
Okay.
So yes.
By our previous law firm.
I will say yes. Nikki will be silent.
I'm just looking, just asking. Any other questions?
Just a comment. I think you said Nicole will be sort of their liaison.
She is.
She's excellent. I mean, she'll be a great liaison. She will definitely work with you, let you know what's going on. I feel really good about that. Nicole will do a great job with being able to, what you all are doing, but letting you know it's not just stasis. You know, you're not just locked in stasis after all this time.
Well, I think, Vice Mayor, if I may, I had a chat with the residents ahead of the meeting, and I think that we need to communicate when there's progress and when there isn't as well.
Yeah,
Right.
so that it's not just
That's right.
Right, you don't,
Agree
blank
with that.
air.
don't assume, right?
Right.
That nothing, yeah.
No, so that's excellent.
Can I do a couple quick questions?
Yeah, just 1 second. I just want to make sure my commission has their turn first. Go ahead. Any comments or
I don't have any questions, but obviously I think having the right communication and the right attorney, and, you know, we'll just keep pushing forward, but I appreciate the update.
Anything, John?
No, I fully agree.
Okay, come on up.
Concerned.
So Mayor, as he comes up, I just want to say for the public record that the intent is that the attorney is not free. She doesn't work pro bono on this case, so the intent is to eventually get the property, and then the city will recoup our costs, because these are taxpayer dollars.
Okay.
Okay. Ken Klein, I'm on the Homeowners Association for Braemore South. A couple follow-up questions. You said that Nikki, you said that the heir has an attorney in New York, and that attorney has been in contact with Lauren?
Actually, he has, his name is Keith Strunen, and he has been in, our attorney Lauren Rubenstein reached out to him several times, and they have been in contact.
Okay.
Yes.
In my email from Nicole, she was kind of, I think, mentioning that once they could communicate with that person's lawyer, that they could then send them a letter saying, you need to deal with this property, this is on you now, and then giving them a certain amount of time to deal with the property, and then the city could take action.
So I'll just jump in and just say, from what you guys just said, it's the
only have
reason,
half of
that was true at the time probably that she told you, until we found out that the other side hadn't been
It's only
searched.
half, it's only
Okay.
Yeah,
half.
so now we have to wait for the
All right.
darn
So
search.
do we know anything other than that they've made contact? Like, is the heir interested in the property? Do we even know that? Or do we not know that at this point?
Yeah, you know, the heir, once they were contacted, and they're not here, and they're not aggressively pursuing it, so I'm not sure how interested they are.
All right, so, all right. Another question I had, I wasn't totally understanding why the property has to pass from the mother to the son before it can then go any further. There was never a will, there was never anything left to him, there was no, so I was confused as to why this process has to go through the son now before it can go any further.
And I'm sure there's a logical reason. I don't understand why. It's a legal issue, and,
Yeah.
and I can ask Lauren and report
Yeah,
back to you
if
and
you
copy
would.
the commission.
Yeah, and then, let's see. So now I'm assuming that if that does have to be done, that it does have to go through John, that now we're stuck again because they're going out looking for more heirs on the other side,
We need to complete the paternal.
before they
heirs.
can file that probate to get it into John's name, to then go to whatever process they have from there.
Yes.
Okay, and thank you for the things you've done so far. The house is still a mess, the mold, the mildew, the stink, so rats are another big problem, not just the raccoons. Raccoons, possums, and rats, pretty regular occurrence. But I thank you all for your time and your concern. That's it.
Obviously, it's just really frustrating, as I'm sure you two feel the same way.
Very.
Okay, citizen input, anybody wishing to come forward and speak to any item that's not already on the agenda, please feel free to do so.
Hi, good evening. It's good to see everybody. David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue up the street in Palm Harbor. I'm here tonight in protest of the construction of the roundabout up on alternate 19 in Palm Harbor. During the town hall meeting last year, the residents overwhelmingly denied and
No, you're good. I was asking them to be quiet while you were talking.
the residents rejected the proposed roundabout development on alternate 19 in Palm Harbor. The fire chief as well in Palm Harbor also expressed his disapproval of the roundabout, citing that the roundabout serves as a roadway impediment in that it obstructs emergency vehicles in performing their intended purpose. To my understanding, alternate US Highway 19 is the only designated highway in Florida to have such a roundabout. The roundabout on alternate US Highway 19 is not a warranted form of infrastructure, as 90 to 95% of the vehicles travel in a north to south direction, and only 5 to 10% of the traffic enters the road at right angles, and the location utilizes a standard stop sign as protocol. The roundabout does not serve to decongest our roadways. Such impediment is counterproductive in alleviating traffic congestion. For example, in comparing with other congested intersections, Times Square in New York City does not have a roundabout. So if I was to compare big apples with oranges, why should alternate 19 in Palm Harbor be forced against our will to bear such imposition that ultimately is a misappropriated cost for the residents to bear? The county has appropriated $2.6 million to construct this roundabout that is deliberately intended to impede the efficiencies of vehicular travel. In order to alleviate traffic congestion in an effective manner, overpasses on US 19 should have been installed clear through Weeki Wachee 25 years ago. Negligence on not constructing efficient roadways is unacceptable moving forward. Ultimately, I think there's more to this roundabout issue than what legislation is currently disclosing to the public in choosing such election, and I ask for your help in standing down this development. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else wish to come forward and speak to any item? Come on.
Joanne Sheldon, 1575 Roxbury Lane. Live right next door to the party of the first part. I want to personally thank you, Jeff, and you, John, for actually coming out to the property and looking at it and seeing what a mess it is. And thank you all for taking interest in it and doing something. 2.5 years I've been waiting to have something done, and finally it looks like something is being done. So gives me hope. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll come back to the commission, and we have action items, which is the first reading of Ordinance 22-18, repealing Chapter 82 Vehicles for Hire in its entirety and creating Chapter 82 Transport Service Vehicles and Micro-Mobility Devices. Nikki, can you please read Ordinance 22-18 by title only?
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2218, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin repealing Chapter 82, Vehicles for Hire of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dunedin in its entirety, creating Chapter 82, Transportation Services Vehicles and Micro-Mobility Devices, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of Ordinance 2218 on first reading by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Tornga, and I'll use Commissioner Franny as the second.
It can be Commissioner Dow. I'm good with that.
Oh, no.
I didn't hear him.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought
I was waiting to second, but she called you because you both said, we're good.
Well, why don't you just go ahead and put me in it? I'm the only one.
Everybody.
It's all good.
Okay. Who is presenting on this?
Oh, I'll take it because
Okay.
I think the ball was in my court. So,
Okey-doke.
thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. So, in the time since you first had first reading on this item, you asked us about 2 items to incorporate into the ordinance, and that really helped us to do a deeper dive a little bit through the history, through some of what, working with Jennifer and her team on how we could take a fresh look at some of the ordinance provisions. So we did look at the two things that were directed. The first was whether or not the city could independently regulate helmets be worn on bicycles, scooters, anything where people are riding their devices, their personal devices within the city, and under the uniform traffic code that is preempted. So the intent being, as people cross city lines, they're uniform for a reason, so that everyone knows what the rules are. So they are required for children under 16, but they cannot be mandated for adults or for people over 16. So that's a statutory preemption. I know that was one of the items the commission asked me to report on. The second thing that the commission asked us to do was to implement a prohibition on the scooter drop, we'll call it. Companies coming in, dropping scooters on the sidewalks for hire that then get left and don't have spots to return to, and all of those things. And the city does have the ability to regulate those from not operating within their sidewalks. That is included in your ordinance now, Mayor, where it used to have a, so again, this was a shift of the entire first reading on its head. You went from what was proposed to be a licensing system where people would be allowed to operate those kind of businesses so long as they did so with an agreement with the city and had insurance and did all these different things. But now this moves to it doesn't prohibit people from having their own devices. It prohibits the rentals of them from within the sidewalk. So the lifts or birds, or there's a couple of different ones that, the mayor had made some comments on some other cities that you had seen their operations, Raleigh, Raleigh, that was it. So those are now, I'm sorry, Commissioner, do you have a question?
Hoverboards?
So I want to talk about, the city manager let me know that there might be some questions about that. So, I'm going first through the history of what we looked at between first and second reading, which was primarily, and to the mayor's good concern about the regulation of scooters being synonymous with bicycles and making sure that it wasn't overreaching. So people can still continue to live their lives in Dunedin the way that they do with their own personal devices, but without allowing the business operations to come and be disruptive on the sidewalks in that same way. So that's the draft that you have before you. We also removed some what were more dated practices that wouldn't necessarily be implemented and enforced by the city. And so if you're going to have a law on the books, you've got to be ready to how you're going to enforce it and monitor it. And so in speaking with Jennifer, some of the regulations that were included in the initial draft on Taxicab meter regulations and very specific Taxicab and Limo regulations, in working with Jennifer, it was determined that those really haven't been regulated in that way since the 1977 regulations were even in place. For example, our baseball team was just in here, and they probably take limos to prom, and I can guarantee you they don't have a franchise agreement with the city to come and pick up the students to take them to prom. So we don't want to have a law on the books that is just not the way that the current operations are within the city, but we did leave some teeth in the ordinance to prevent against bad actors. So someone coming in, offering some kind of public transportation service is going to have to meet certain safety standard requirements and is not going to be able to just come in and offer those services to the public. So that's not been a problem to date, but we wanted to make sure that if something like that were to occur, it would be something that was in partnership with the city too. So you all have talked about, looking at trolleys or doing different things. This doesn't disrupt any of that. Partnerships with the city are all exempt as, government initiatives under the ordinance. So with all of that being said, I hope that we have met your objectives between first and second reading. I understand there might be some questions about some other types of devices, so happy to answer them. And I know Jennifer hopefully is too, because we've worked, both of staff too, I've got to thank them. They did a lot of digging on some of this historical regulations that were on the books from the 70s. So thank you, George and Joey.
Commissioner, you had a question about hoverboards?
Well, I think it was more a curiosity to me, because it looks like a disc, right? And it's got little flashing lights on it. That was one of the first ones I've seen on the linear park on Edgewater Drive. And I was just sort of interested. And, I think from what I'm seeing here, what certainly your intent was to include all the different new forms of conveyance. So, it's not that I am saying we have to include hoverboards. I was just sort of fascinated, really, to see it.
I wouldn't recommend you get on one.
No, never. Never.
I couldn't help myself, Deborah.
But, I think what you've done is you've taken something that was of true interest and a concern with the with the scooters, the motorized scooters. I think we've heard that Tampa, St. Pete, Raleigh, whatever. And a lot of it is because of a littering aspect, and it's dangerous when you start throwing them on sidewalks that people will trip and fall over them. So, I'm really happy with the way you designated this. I guess I would ask legally, it's okay just to designate this and not go into electric bicycles, right? I mean, it's okay just to say we won't have any motorized scooters as a specific phrase.
So it is any for hire motorized scooter, meaning someone is renting it to another person. So it does not, in that way, it treats bicycles just the same as your individual personal bicycle, your individual personal scooter are required to be treated the same under the law. What this is regulating and prohibiting is the for hire, the renting of them, and that you are allowed to specify that this is a motorized scooter and micromobility devices. So it's both, to your point. And micromobility devices is defined more broadly. I wasn't, Jennifer asked me before coming in tonight whether it included hoverboards and one wheels, and now I guess there's electric skateboards, so we're all living in Back to the Future.
Yeah, they're not renting those.
But to that point of the technology in the area and the devices, changing rather quickly, I did look, and those are not contemplated in the same way under the statutes. So I do think, if you want to be clear that those are also not for hire, that you could include that on second reading. And in fact, I believe that is what Fort Myers Beach did. So they did a catch-all that included micromobility or scooters, skateboards, one-wheel devices, and hoverboards. So we could expand that if the commission wishes between first and second reading. You'd have to amend the motion that's on the floor.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Are the one-wheel devices considered like those things that you...
Segways?
Segways?
Those are actually, I think, fall under what the statutes call electric, they call those electric personal assistive mobility devices, because they actually have a self-balancing two non-tandem wheels, which is, I guess, different than one wheel.
Is that covered under here anywhere? Segways?
Well, that's what I think that's another thing where if you're really just wanting to capture all of that, we can make sure. I do think that is covered in the current micromobility device. It's a self-propelled less than 20 mile per hour, but we can be very specific that it includes segways, hoverboards, those things. And again, this is talking about renting them for hire. This isn't
Not talk about using them.
right.
You're wrong, right.
Now you can, There is a carve-out that you can regulate that on your sidewalks.
I don't think we want to get that crazy.
And so, but yes, but right now, the rule would be,
Yeah.
just like a bicycle.
Let me go back to Commissioner Vice Mayor to make sure she's completed with her question.
I am, and, I guess the issue is, I don't want to go too far, but it is there are so many new ramifications in that micro-mobility subset that, I don't want to go too far, but I'm trying to say, I guess is it carved out that if you rented a hoverboard, would you just dump it on a sidewalk? I don't know. I mean, I have no earthly idea.
I don't know, and I don't think.
It's not happening now. I mean.
Yeah,
Mayor,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The issue with the scooters is that we've all experienced it when we've gone to cities. They ride them and they dump them. We see it all the time. With the one wheels and the hoverboards and everything else, I mean, we're just not seeing that. So I think what Nikki is saying is proactively incorporating it in the ordinance, if it should occur in the future, but, it's not really something that.
And that's fine.
Right.
Well, you're leaving it open, and so if we wanted to tweak it in the future, be more specific, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine with me.
Okay.
Commissioner?
Well, I'm trying to understand what we were trying to fix, because what I was not wanting the ability for anybody to do was the operation that leaves them stranded.
Yeah.
That's exactly
That's what we're doing.
But now
That's what
we're
we're
talking
doing.
about this, but I'm like, okay, well, does that mean if somebody wants to rent a little Vespa scooters that somebody's gonna ride around town on?
No, because that's not being rented from the sidewalk. These don't have you don't have a bird store that you go in and you get it, and then you got to bring it back at the end of the
Okay.
day. That's not the
Okay,
issue
so
with
it is
these
really centered
scooters.
just
It's
on-
that they just get dropped
Got
and
it.
they're operating entirely from within the rights or wherever people take them or wherever they dump them into the river or wherever. There's not a business owner with a shop saying, okay, I'll rent you this bicycle for the next hour for $20 and bring it back in good condition, and then they do. That's not what the
Okay, good.
ish-
I
this
just wanted
is-
to make sure I was getting
This is on
confused.
for-hire micromobility and motorized scooters in the sidewalks. And that's what we took the commission's direction to be. And the answer of what we're fixing, you're really, the good thing for Dunedin is you're not fixing a problem that is here. You're preventing a problem from coming and
Which is
being
why I
dropped
think
on
it
your
was a
doorstep.
Right.
Great
I thought it was a
suggestion.
great idea.
But, just to kind of go a little bit with what Vice Mayor said, you do see more of everything on the sidewalks. I mean, literally, I'm passing the Methodist Church the other day, walking, and 2 bikes passed me on the sidewalk, on the brick sidewalks, and then came 2 of the, what do you call them?
Segways?
Segway, thank you. And, so I'm just getting out of the way, right? And so, but I do think that's a whole different issue. It goes to Commissioner Gao and micromobility and, having streets and things set up, so we have all these,
So it
we're not
fits all of it.
colliding, right? We're not colliding. And it actually goes a little bit to what you said last night, bikes are in there because they're not feeling safe on the road and everything kind of backs up into itself. But that's another subject. But I like that you did this. I think you did it great. I just want to make sure I understood. Thank you.
Commissioner Torn, any questions?
No, I'm happy.
Any questions? Jeff? Commissioner Gao?
One, I do like the idea, what you brought up the last time, and it's changed the whole thing. I thought that was
Thank you.
a really good idea. But it goes to what the city attorney was saying about this is kind of focused for the scooters for hire on the sidewalks. And I couldn't read in here, I didn't see it in there, that that's really what this is. We all understood in concept, but I don't know because it's renting from the sidewalk, or is the problem that they're leaving them on the sidewalk when they're done? If somebody were to come into the city and want to open up a shop that rents scooters from the shop, but the idea is the renter could leave them anywhere they wanted to, that's still the problem. And so I want to, and so I just want to make sure it's not renting from the sidewalk, it's leaving them on the sidewalk.
Well, you're just.
No, it's both. It's for any for-hire motorized scooters. So it's because that's how you don't go to pick them up at a place. You rent them from the middle of the right of way. You
right.
just turn it on with your phone.
But he's saying, what if they did, I'm sorry, I'm
Storefront,
speaking.
right.
What if they did
Bricks and
have a bricks and mortar storefront?
That's covered by section 3162128 Florida statutes, and that's covered in section 824B of this ordinance that says they must strictly comply with that section, including, rules against operating and things like that. So that you have commercial operations addressed, but that there is a different statute that deals with that.
Okay. And so if one of our current retail establishments wants to break out and go, hey, I can rent bikes, I'll also rent scooters, that they wouldn't be able to rent the scooters.
And bring them back to the bricks and
If
mortar.
they bring them back to the brick and mortar, that's
They can't put it on
fine.
the street. and
Yeah,
anybody
they
Right.
just
can
can't
have
leave
it.
it on the
Right.
street.
That's,
But they wouldn't be just, they wouldn't be just walking up to the scooter on the sidewalk
right,
and
Right.
swiping their
Right.
card and
Right.
taking off.
right.
It would be a,
And that's similar to how your bike rentals operate now, which is
Right.
not the problem.
right,
Right.
right.
If you want to ban them from your sidewalks, that's a different issue. But that wasn't the direction that I heard from the commission, because that would impact everyone's individual or brick and mortar rented. This was really aimed at the tech thing where there's no one here, there's no one making sure they're not ending up in the basin, in the marina basin, in our, environmentally sensitive waters. And there's no point person when they get dropped here, they just get left. And so it was to guard against that primarily.
And this language handles that.
That's in section 82.4, prohibition of for-hire motor scooters and other micromobility devices. So Commissioner, that's where the prohibition is.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else?
But thank you, no, those are really good comments, and I'm glad, I hope this helps clarify too, for people that you are not trying, it's really kind of to keep the status quo more than it is to change
Yeah, we're not changing
anything.
it.
And the idea that the changes we made were kind of to preempt the preemption as well,
Right,
which was
right.
smart.
Because once you let them do it,
Once they're here,
they have a right.
they're an
and then now
operating
you can't take
business.
it. Now you're taking a right away.
And you had nothing on the books that even really contemplated those types of things existing, because the last time was updated was 1977. So,
I have a quick question on a completely different piece of this. As I read through it, under 82.3, the regulation and standards for transportation service vehicles. It does say in section 12 that an adequately operating air conditioning system, windshield defrost, or defrosting system which controls the temperature of the interior of the vehicle with certain degrees. I was thinking about, there are some vehicles that don't have air conditioning, like the
Tiki taxi.
Tiki taxi, yeah, the Tiki rides, they don't have air conditioning. There are a couple of trolleys out there that don't have air conditioning, they're all open air. And so, and I know this isn't the same as a low-speed golf cart type thing, I understand that. This is something with a motor. So my question is, did anybody go through this with those things in their mind? Like the Tiki taxi, which is completely open air. Now the front, where the two people sit, might have air, but in the back, it's all open. So. I'm a
that
little-
part was in the prior ordinance. I
Yeah.
didn't look at that one specifically.
And
Jennifer,
so that's one thing. So between first and second reading.
So, yeah, well,
Okay, but the second piece of it is, I did go, because at first I was like, well, golf carts don't have that, and I realized it was
They're
separated into low speed and, all that.
does not include golf.
Right.
carts, Correct.
But I did also wanted to make sure that, Jennifer, you and George and Joey and whomever, look at the section that would be covered depending on what kind of looper we get to make sure that it's appropriate. I don't want to second guess that. Again, just between first and second reading, we don't want to have to go back and change it.
Yeah, we can do that. I think for item number 12, we can add just very simply, something that ensures proper airflow. Because, the trolleys and the Tiki Tiki Taxi, I mean, they all have the windows open and the air flowing through. And I
Right.
think that's really the intent, is just a ventilation system where,
Right.
so,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we can look at that.
Something like that. You guys figure it out. When I saw that, I started thinking about, we didn't have these forms of transportation back in the day.
right, when we wrote in 77.
We
Yeah,
didn't.
we didn't. Okay.
That's what we're trying to deal with.
Right. Okay, so this is a public hearing. Anybody wishing to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free to do so. Sure.
Are we talking about the tiki van, or are we talking about?
Yeah, the tiki van doesn't have air conditioning.
As a kid, I remember going to Busch Gardens or Walt Disney World, and they had this little tram that went around, the park system.
Oh, yeah, they still
and
have
it
it.
kind of looked like a centipede of such, you know. Why wouldn't we want to employ something like that for public transportation? You could easily size it to fit the route, or add on to it to fit the route. And it seemed as though these things were real navigable within the park system itself. So that could
We
be
might.
a concept.
We don't know what kind of, we're going out to RFP for that kind
Not
of
as though I
thing.
like
so-
carnies by any means, but they are smart, and they
You
do
never
come
know.
up with a lot of inventive ideas. And that's what I saw as a kid at the,
Thank you.
thanks.
And I did send you the text picture when we were, last week, all of us were in Hollywood Beach or Fort Lauderdale area. They had exactly the kind of thing we were looking for. I don't know if you saw it floating around down on whatever main road. Yeah, that little electric cart thing.
How big was it?
Big enough. It was perfect. It was
Like
exact.
12
I took pictures and I sent it to, texted them to Jennifer.
Maybe
I'll
you
text
could
them to you.
share it, yeah.
I'll text them to you.
Absolutely.
And if you go on their website, you could actually rent them for the day, if you wanted to, as a person there, the whole thing. Or there's a service area. Our service area, in theory, at least at first, would be here in the downtown. And as long as you wave it down, it's free. But if you call it for a pickup, then you pay.
And you pay.
It was interesting, because I sent it to her, so I'll send it to you guys. All right, nobody else wishes to speak to this item? Okay, we'll come back to the commission. Maker of the motion was Commissioner Tornga. Final comments?
I have nothing further, thank you.
I have no other comments.
Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I finally wrapped my head around this. It took me a while. What we're prohibiting is the renting or getting these devices on our streets.
On our
That's it.
sidewalks.
On our sidewalks. It says streets, too.
It might say street.
Rights of way.
Rights of way.
And now, I've got it.
There you go. Commissioner? Okay, and I also just want to take a brief minute in case we have any of our own old not charter, ordinance review folks from the previous one. Some of these changes were their recommendations, so thank you to them. And we're finally getting to them, so that I'm appreciative of that. And thank you to all of you for hearing my concerns about the scooters.
Thank you, Mayor, for actually pointing that out, because that's actually why, we'll look at the circulation aspect, but that's a testament to how much we tried to keep from their original recommendations.
Right.
Because those were those recommendations.
But
So-
that was like from 3 years ago,
Right.
so the technology's already changed, and that's what we're seeing.
Absolutely, and so I think that's why it's a good for a fresh update, but as a testament to that, that's how close we tried to stay to those recommendations, even though they were from 2018, but we will definitely look at that.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gao,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes,
Aye.
Commissioner Franny,
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga,
Aye.
and Mayor Buczowski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. The second and final reading will occur on September 15th. All right, now we have the city-initiated land use plan amendment rezoning of 1900 San Mateo Drive, number C, D, and E, which are the Hammock Park additions. The second reading of ordinance 2204, which is the land use plan amendment, and the second reading of ordinance 2205, which is the zoning designation change. So this is going to be one of those that we have all three at the same time, and then we,
It's just two, I
Two?
think, right? It's just land
Oh,
use and
two,
zoning,
okay.
Mayor, so we can do it either way you want. You can start with 2204, but Joey can still be sworn in, or you can just have him do his presentation, swear in, and then I can read the titles separately at the
yeah,
end.
go ahead and swear 'em in.
Joey, do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and I pretend like I know my lefts and rights when I did that. Thank you. Okay, so since Joey, before we'll read the title until after the presentation, Mayor, and then we'll read one after the other.
And then does anyone need to disclose any ex parte contacts? Well, we wouldn't have any because they're, nobody involved except the city.
That's correct.
Correct,
These are city
okay,
initiatives, yeah.
there we go. Joey, you're on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Joseph DePosco on behalf of Community Development. And yes, I'll just do a combined, very brief presentation. You've seen this before. This is the final step in changing the land use and the zoning of these three parcels. So as you recall, this was a city-initiated application, obviously initiated on behalf of the city by the city manager. Our Parks and Recreation Department is essentially representative because it's, of course, Hammock Park, and Laney Sheets with Parks is with us this evening. To remind everybody, this is the additions to the Hammock Park. These are the three parcels that were acquired over a period of several years, and as a result of some consistency with both our use as a park and as well as some obligations we had to the state tied to funding, we've initiated this application. This aerial, again, blows up the area. You can see that the three parcels, you have a very large parcel to the west, about 8.25 acres. You have a small sliver that is in between another linear piece of property. In total, it's 8.97 acres, essentially already being used as part of the park. I think everybody knows that. There's trails on it and whatnot. Laney spoke to that at previous meetings. Briefly, as you recall the background, these properties were acquired over a period of several years. Two were acquired together in 2016, and the previous parcel was acquired a few years earlier in 2010. All from the Diocese of St. Petersburg, and the city has been, of course, maintaining them ever since. And really, this is our final step in the process of getting it officially as part of our park area. You do have the two ordinances you're considering this evening, and three parcels included. All three of those parcels, as they sit today, are in the public, semi-public land use category. We're proposing, of course, to move those via Ordinance 2204 to recreation open space, ROS, so 8.97 acres in total. The proposed zoning designation in 2205, all three properties right now are actually zoned single-family residential, R60, and they're going to be, of course, rezoned to our municipal public lands, MPL. The previous action, you may recall, the LPA did review this application back on April 13th, recommended approval of both ordinances unanimously, followed up by first reading in front of the City Commission, which took place on May 5th. Again, unanimous recommendations. Since that time, we've, of course, transmitted the land use amendment to the county. It had to go through a series of meetings, culminating with the Board of County Commissioners on July 19th, acting in their capacity as a countywide planning authority, adopting and approving the land use plan amendments we recommended, and now, obviously, being brought back to you for the final readings here this evening. So with that said, the staff recommendation is, of course, to approve both ordinances, 2204, which would change the land use category from public, semi-public to recreation open space on the city's land use plan maps. And then the following ordinance would be 2205, placing the the zoning district designation of MPL on all three parcels. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions. And as I mentioned, Laney Sheets is also available from the Parks and Recreation Department.
Okay. Questions for Joey? Any questions? Any questions?
Nope.
Questions? That's it? Okay, let's do the ordinance 2204, land use designation. Nikki, please read that by title only.
Ordinance 2204, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, amending the City of Dunedin future land use plan as adopted by Ordinance 2001 on certain real property located along San Mateo Drive, parcel numbers 23281500000033000400 232815000003300200 and 232815000003300300, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 8.97 acres, to assign a recreation open space ROS land use designation and providing for an effective date. This has been a reading of Ordinance 2204 on first reading by title only.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's second final reading.
I was going to say, I
Second,
thought, yeah, I thought it was the end.
So move.
Okay, Commissioner Gao,
Second.
Commissioner Franny. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free to do so. Seeing and hearing none, we have one more motion to take, so let's maybe skip comments until the second motion.
Like that.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
And Mayor Bujalski?
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Nikki, would you please read Ordinance 2205 zoning designation?
Ordinance 2205 is an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, zoning certain real property located along San Mateo Drive, parcel numbers 232815000000, 3300400, 232815000000, 3300200, and 232815000000, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 8.97 acres to municipal public lands and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of Ordinance 2205 on second and final reading.
I thought she missed a zero.
I mean,
I didn't
What
want to say
happens if
anything.
you missed a zero?
I try to count because the one job we have to do is read the ordinance by title only, so, no.
Okay, let's, is there a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Gao and Vice Mayor Kynes.
Everybody here is cracking up.
All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free to do so. Seeing or hearing none, we'll come back to the commission for final comments. Commissioner Gao.
Actually, just exciting. And, it's just so funny growing up that that property was the hammock. And so it was the idea that it's now 2022 and we're putting that final bow on it is just wonderful. So it's a good night.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Well, I mean, you might just want to talk about it. This was a real process because it had to go to, what, the county, Pinellas?
Forward Pinellas. and
Forward
into the
Pinellas,
County, Board of County Commissioners, yes.
And Board of County Commissioners. So it's like, you're right. I mean, we had to put the bow on it, but then it had to go through the other echelons of government to bring it back. Yep.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I mean, it's another open space, feather in the cap for our citizens of Dunedin. And actually, I wasn't part of the commission at the time when it happened. I think probably, John, you were, and Mayor and Vice Mayor. Jeff was out there pounding
picketing.
petitions and collecting money to make sure it happened. I was running for election at the
We were
time,
nice
but,
and gentle.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Those meetings only went.
I don't remember you being gentle.
1, 2 in the morning, I think.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's just yeah, I mean, there was a overflow of public sentiment, obviously, about this, and it's another feather in the cap for how important green space is to this community. And so it's a good time to wrap the bow. Tie the bow. Tie the bow? Yeah, tie the bow. Sorry,
Tie the
John.
bow.
Just want to get that right before I get
Connected and completed.
There you go. Anything, Commissioner Torga?
Connected and
Oh,
completed.
gotcha. Well, it's just funny that, let's face it, this should have been done 3 years ago. I mean, we just lost sight of it. But the great,
No,
no?
no, we could not, we did not have an adopted comp plan, so we couldn't amend it. We had to wait until we had the adopted comp plan, so we didn't lose sight of
To
it,
change zoning?
to change the land use.
We've changed plenty of land uses before our comp plan was,
Actually, the only land use plan amendments we were allowed during that period of time was when you went from same to same. They're not considered amendments. If you go from the counties, let's say RL to RRL, we were allowed, but this was a albeit a down land use, you're going to a recreation open space, but we were not able to process a land use amendment that would change that.
It was a county property?
No, it's our,
County plan.
our plan has to be codified at the county as well.
Right.
Yeah, so.
So it was a change, a fundamental change in the land use, which we weren't allowed to do. We didn't lose sight of it, I just want.
It was commercial?
Yeah.
It was commercial? I don't remember what it was. What was it?
Residential.
It was actually public,
R6.
semi-public,
Gotcha.
and,
And R60.
You go there.
so.
Because it was
Hey,
supposed-
she's just like me. Don't speak untruths about me.
I didn't say that.
No.
She just was
we-
clarifying the record.
Yeah, that's right.
What, from a community development, we had been discussing this for quite some time with Parks and Recreation in advance of knowing that we needed to do this. We were aware of it.
Gotcha. All right, well, what people need to really know.
You have anything else to say?
I do. I have a lot to say. What people really need to know is that this was a hard-fought battle to get this property. There was points in time where there were certain commissioners didn't want it and said it was too expensive. Nobody's sitting here. Okay, I'll just be clear about that. Which is why we had 1 o'clock in the morning meetings and picketing going on, you know, and we found a way to pay the $1.2 million, and we went back and got, I think, $600,000 worth of grants to do this, which, you know, makes me want to tell those old commissioners, see, because they didn't think we could get grants after the fact. But we did.
I was on the commission then, so.
Yeah, we did. We did it.
Great.
And we have a long history of supporting green space preservation. But what this does tonight is make sure that we can't sell the 8 acres. It would have to go on the ballot and be approved by our residents to ever consider selling under referendum. So the step we've just taken is huge in protecting the green space that we have and never seeing it go away, because can you imagine any of our residents voting to sell that? It ain't ever happening. And again, I go back to Commissioner Scales, who brought that forward, brought that concept forward that we now have, and so. Very good. Okay, now we'll go to the second reading, right? Second reading of property located at Birdie Lane, which is their annexation, their land use plan amendment, and their zoning designation. So we're just going to get the whole, do what we just did, right? He'll get sworn in.
Yeah. Well, Joey, you're still under.
Oh, that's right. But this one we could, this one we can, any ex parte from anybody?
Does anybody have any ex parte communications to disclose with regard to the zoning? Nope.
Okay, go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, for checking that.
Thank you, Mayor. So yes, I'd like to just do again a brief presentation, which will cover all 3 ordinances under consideration for second reading this evening. Real briefly about the property. The property owners are Margaret M. and Timothy H. Stambaugh. The property address 3 Birdie Lane, Palm Harbor, Florida. Property size is just under 0.8 acres. Currently, the property in unincorporated Pinellas County is R1 single-family residential, and the land use at the county is residential suburban at the moment, RS. It's in a flood zone X, and the current use of the property is single-family. There's a single-family home on the property. Here's an aerial. You can see the property is located just north of Curlew Road, actually just 1 lot north of Curlew Road on the east side of Birdie Lane. Again, has a single-family residential home on it, and it's within our planning area, so obviously it is contemplated to be annexed and made part of the city. Here we have our land use map, and you'll see that this property is gray, and I'll point out, as I did at first reading, that the gray areas are the ones that are not in the city, which is why they're not colored, but that yellow is the proposed land use we're suggesting be placed on the property, which is consistent with the rest of the community that is within the city of Dunedin. And you can see some of the surrounding areas as well. So, of course, we'll have consistent land use across this parcel as well as the other ones that are within the city limits already. Moving to our zoning map, again, you'll see that color of gray is the areas that are not in the city. The yellows are, that is R200, and you can see we'll be placing that zoning on the property as well. Again, staying consistent with what's happening in the balance of that neighborhood. Some of the recommendations that brought us here today, the first one was on June 8th. The LPA unanimously recommended approval of the application and all three ordinances. And after first reading, this application and the one after it are what are called Tier 1 amendments, meaning they're very simple, they're handled administratively, but they do get transmitted to the county, which we did. The county did review those Tier 1 amendments, and for this particular one for the land use, and gave an approval. And so, of course, we are bringing it back to you for second and final reading, which is why it also got turned around quicker than some of the other ones, the Tier 2s, which you're used to seeing, which take generally a couple months. So staff recommendation is, of course, to approve all three ordinances. Ordinance 2211 to voluntary annex the property into the city. Following annexation, Ordinance 2212 to designate the property as residential low, RL on the city's future land use map, consistent with the remaining neighborhood. And then Ordinance 2213 to designate the property as single-family residential R200 on our official zoning atlas. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions on this second reading? Okay.
I'll go ahead and read the title, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance 22-11, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, annexing certain real property located at 3 Birdie Lane, parcel number 14281531986000090, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 0.8 acres into the corporate limits of the city, providing for filing with the clerk of court and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of Ordinance 2211 on second reading by title only.
So moved.
Vice Mayor Kynes, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Franny? Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to this item, please feel free to do so. Seeing or hearing none, we'll save final comments till the end, if you don't mind. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bujalski?
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Then we have the ordinance 2212.
Ordinance, sorry.
Go ahead.
Ordinance 2212, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, amending the City of Dunedin future land use plan as adopted by Ordinance 2001 on certain real property following annexation located at 3 Birdie Lane, parcel number 14281531986000090, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 0.8 acres, to assign a residential low RL land use designation and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of Ordinance 2212 on second reading by title only.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Tornga and Vice Mayor Kynes, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to the land use designation, please feel free to do so. Seeing or hearing none, we'll come back to the commission. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
And Mayor Bujalski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Now finally, ordinance 22-13, which is the zoning.
Ordinance 22-13, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, zoning certain real property an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, zoning certain real property following annexation located at 3 Birdie Lane, parcel number 14281531986000090, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately 0.8 acres, to single-family residential R200 and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of Ordinance 2213 on second reading by title only. Sorry.
No,
Excellent job.
it isn't you making me laugh. It's my husband. He texted me and he said, "You look good on a 75-inch TV." We just got a new TV last week. And it is big. I mean, it's big.
That is
And
big.
he's watching.
And he's watching.
Yeah, that's impressive that he's watching,
yeah.
man, especially.
Yeah, okay, Peg's home watching too, you know it. Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor and Commissioner Tornga. All right, this is a public hearing. Anybody wishing come forward and speak to the zoning designation? Okay, no, seeing or hearing nobody, I'll come back to the commission for any final comments. Vice Mayor, anything final?
Welcome. We're
That's
happy.
what I have. Welcome to Dunedin. Commissioner Tornga?
Birdie Lane.
Anyway,
Welcome.
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 Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
And Mayor Bujalski?
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, now we'll go to 6 Birdie Lane, which is the second reading of the annexation, land use, and zoning.
Joey, you're still under oath?
And
And are there any ex parte communications to disclose for this zoning? Okay.
Thank you again, Joseph DePasqua on behalf of Community Development. And so this application is very similar to one you just saw. The property is owned by Joseph C. Gould, 6 Birdie Lane. This property is a little bit smaller at .72 acres. Just as the last application, the property currently has a zoning district designation in the county of R1, single-family residential, and residential suburban is the land use in the county at the moment, and will be that way for, I guess, the next couple of moments. It's in a flood zone X as well, and the current use of the property is single-family residence. That same aerial we saw with the last application, you see this property is actually on the west side of Birdie Lane, a couple lots north of Curlew Boulevard. Yes, Curlew Road, I guess. I'm sorry, Curlew Road. Our land use map, again, you can see the yellow area is the RL. That's what we're proposing for this property and consistent with the surrounding neighborhood. Same with the zoning. We've got that R200 on the remaining lots that are in the city, and we're proposing, of course, the same with this lot as we did with the previous. And then very quickly, this application was heard by the LPA on June 8th, and there was a unanimous recommendation of approval for all 3 ordinances. We did transmit this as a Tier 1 amendment to the counties, as we did with the last one. We sent them both together, and we did receive approval. So we have the final ordinance readings this evening for all 3, and we are recommending approval of all 3 to voluntarily annex the property into the city limits, to place that RL land use land use category on the property, and then finally to place the R200 single-family residential zoning district designation on the property following annexation. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
any questions for Joey on this one, second reading? Okay. Nikki, if you'd please read ordinance 22-14 for annexation by title only.
Absolutely. Ordinance 22-14, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, annexing certain real property located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000640, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .68 acres, into the corporate limits of the city, providing for filing with the clerk of court and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-14 on second reading by title only.
Motion to approve.
So
moved.
So moved.
yeah, so.
Okay, Commissioner Tornga, and we'll say Commissioner Kynes seconded it. This is a public hearing. Anybody wishing to come
She said
forward?
something, I don't know what it was.
Anybody wishing to come forward to speak to the annexation piece of this? Seeing and hearing none, come back to the commission roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gao?
Aye.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes?
Aye.
Commissioner Tornga?
Aye.
And Mayor Bujalski?
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. Then we have ordinance 22-15, the land use designation.
Ordinance 22-15, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, amending the City of Dunedin future land use plan as adopted by Ordinance 2001 on certain real property following annexation located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000640, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .68 acres, to assign a residential low RL land use designation and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-15 on second reading by title only.
Thank you. Could I have a motion?
Second.
Vice Mayor Kynes and Commissioner Tornga, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to the land use designation? Seeing or hearing none, I'll come back to the commission. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Franny?
Aye.
Commissioner Gao,
Aye.
Commissioner Torringa.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes,
Aye.
and Mayor Bujalski.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. And then finally, ordinance 22-16 zoning.
Ordinance 22-16, an ordinance of the City of Dunedin, Florida, zoning certain real property following annexation located at 6 Birdie Lane, parcel number 1428153198600000640, with designated meets and bounds and totaling approximately .68 acres, to single-family residential R200, and providing for an effective date. This has been reading of ordinance 22-16 on second and final reading.
Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Vice Mayor Kynes, and I'll say Commissioner Jeff Gao this
wow, that was
time.
like perfect
All right. Anyone?
Stereo. That was
I know.
stereo.
It was. Anyone wishing to come forward to speak to the zoning on this property? Seeing and hearing none, we'll come back to the commission. All at once, welcome.
Welcome.
It had to be you, right?
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Torringa,
Aye.
Commissioner Franny,
Aye.
Commissioner Gao,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kynes,
Aye.
and Mayor Bujalski.
Aye, and that motion passes unanimously. And then we have the proposed agenda for September 1st. Can we please talk about why we're having a meeting?
Yes.
Because there's nothing on it,
And I have the
essentially.
answer for it.
What's that?
Let's not have the meeting.
Yeah, let's not have the
Yeah,
meeting.
I mean, well, I don't know, what do you want to talk about, Target, something?
Yeah, she's moving that already. She already told me.
You're going to move it to Tuesday?
I certainly can.
Move it to wherever you want. Wherever it
I'd be happy
fits.
to, yeah.
You're gonna move it to wherever
Without
it
any
fits.
fear of duress.
Right.
Yeah.
Or accusations. Do we need to meet, I mean, is there
I have
seriously
no
a
items
reason
on it.
to?
And that is an update on US, is to look into the uses for the light industrial Coca-Cola property. We've been attending county meetings. We have an update. It's not, Coca-Cola is there until
And they're
the second
staying
quarter of
longer.
2023. They're
Yeah.
staying a while, but anyway, and we are on it, but we can move that. I have a good report.
That's wonderful. I
But-
mean, if it works.
Well, we've had a lot of budget stuff lately, I mean, if we don't need it, it's not.
If you'd like to meet, we could do it.
No, I'm fine
She
with
can
that.
show up if she
It's a
wants
le-
to.
Isn't
We don't have to
That's
be
a
there.
lead into
She'll
Labor
beat
Day,
me.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, she will. She will beat you.
If she's the only one that shows up.
That was good, Nikki.
Okay, so obviously someone is
awesome.
going to contact the Society of Vincent de Paul and move that around. I mean, we could just mail them the proclamation and call it a day, but I'm guessing they want to come in.
Yes, ma'am, there's been
Okay.
much contact.
Yeah, I would.
Don't be dissing the St. Vincent de
Oh, for
Paul.
God's sakes. I'm not dissing the church.
But they do a lot of good work.
Oh, I know, I'm just saying,
Nobody's saying they didn't at all.
okay, all right. All right, so can I have a motion to cancel September 1st commission meeting?
So moved.
Vice Mayor
Oh,
Second.
and Commissioner
Second.
Torringa? John Torringa? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, baby. Yes.
look at that.
I can carry on, yes, and I have a note here that under informational item, Commissioner Franny has something she'd like to share with us as well as the audience.
Well, to the public. So basically, you guys know I've been hanging around a little bit at the Sheriff's Department
Just
of
a
late,
little.
and not under arrest, just so you know. But
They only let her out for
yeah,
meetings.
they did ask me, though, to do a little commercial, specifically in North County. They have a need for school crossing guards. And so actually, they went from, I think, $17 an hour, now it's $22 an hour for school crossing guards.
Wow.
Basically, I think they're saying, hey, part-time opportunity to earn extra income, college students, stay-at-home parents, retirees. But, great opportunity, great service to the community if you can do it. Jennifer, I kind of took it upon myself to say that we could keep these at City Hall and kind of, when people come in, maybe give them out, and maybe split these two more professional things between the public library and the Hale Center, because that's and I don't know if we can just kind of get them there tomorrow and make sure that, staff knows what they are and, really just tries to draw interest to it, have it in a prominent space. That would be great, because they do a great service, North County, very important job to keep our kids safe, so.
Actually, I'd like to give these to HR too.
That'd be great, wherever you think, because that one can be copied. These, I think, we thought the health center and the public library might be really good, so.
We're happy to do that.
Mo, with what you gave the city manager, is there a listing of, I don't know how it works, a listing of roads, locations?
Yeah, I think it just depends on what the opening is. So there's both the email and a number to call, so you can understand like what openings are there, but I know they have a need specifically in North County.
Hand one out to the commission, if you don't mind?
Absolutely, yeah, and then, because we should talk it up, really. It's a very important job. Oh, and by the way, just so you know,
You already
too.
have one.
Yes, no, I don't, actually. The North County, North District Station was doing a blast to a lot of our neighborhoods, so that's how they were gonna try to get the word out too, so, yeah, so make it a buzz. And maybe the other sheets, because I had suggested community center, but we thought, save the good ones for Public Library and Hill, but maybe some more of those at community center.
My problem is I can't get up early in the morning.
What about
I just can't do it.
neighborhood thing?
I was just saying, North District Station, the captain there, or one of the lieutenants, I think, was doing a blast, an email blast, to let neighborhood groups know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I think they have that covered. It's, so anyway, that was my job. I needed to fulfill it, and hopefully we get some applicants. Thank you.
And, it's wearable arts, so I know that they've all been trying to get you all to go, so I won't be here.
I'm going.
Great.
Tom and I are going.
Wonderful time.
It's one of Tom's favorite events.
That's wonderful. I will not be here.
I
I will
know,
not
you
be
won't
here
be
either,
here.
so. and
Are
I
you
have
going?
told Georgie.
I am going.
Huh?
I am going, yes.
Well, are you going, John?
I can't believe you, Deborah, you're out of town.
I know, she's out of
I know,
town.
Deborah never misses that
I
thing.
never do, but this is sort of I have a conference thing. so-
Can't do it all.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, if you don't mind, real quickly, can you text Tom? I want to know how I look.
Well, okay, hang on. All right, no, you have, okay. In all fairness to Tom, and I didn't want to do it. Okay, here's the test, here's the thing. He said, told me I had a big mouth for telling you that. And then he came back and he said,
Oh, for telling-
no, just kidding, you all look good, tell them that.
Oh, that's
There
nice.
we go.
I was just trying not to drag it out.
So, Mayor, I do have one last thing since we're not meeting on September 1st.
What's that?
And I mentioned it to Jennifer, and I was gonna just keep it behind the, the scenes, but I think it's important. September 14th is the candidate forum at the Hill Center. I know that when I signed up, it was like a registration thing with the chamber, but I'm hoping we can work with the chamber to really put a blast out, because it really is.
We
I
need
don't
to
know
be
if we'll have
promoting
any
that.
other
It's the
forums.
only thing.
It will be the only thing that's there to really, for people to hear all four candidates in their platform. So, and that's why we have it at the Hill Center, so we can pack it. So,
I mean, I know we're doing it Facebook Live, but not
And
everybody has Facebook.
League of Women Voters are doing it, so it's kept nonpartisan.
Wonderful, they'll do a wonderful job.
Very good. And I also wanted to, since we're sharing, tell you guys something that I thought was the nicest thing. And I did share this with Mo somewhere, I don't know where we were when I shared it with you. But Hillary, who was here, was that Tuesday?
Tuesday,
It
yeah.
feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
Sorry about that.
Long week.
I know,
been a long
we've been
week,
saying
you're
that,
right about
it's
that.
just been a long week. But she was here Tuesday, and, it was a budget meeting, so it went on till 3 o'clock or whatever, 2:30. And I said to her, I said, I know it was a long day for you, boring, probably. She said, oh, no, this was great, because she said, I got to know, I get to know your faces, but I also get to know who you are and your key concerns when you're talking in that much depth about stuff that's important to you, which was nice to hear. But then she said, I have to tell you, you're the most collegial commission I've ever worked with.
Oh,
That's what a nice compliment.
That's what I shared with
That's
Commissioner
right.
Franny,
Wonderful.
because I thought that, well, she hasn't been jaded by us yet, number one. But she doesn't know who we
Yeah,
are.
would
It's not
Nikki
like
say
she's
that?
been watching us. She didn't know who we are, and so she came in completely from the outside and then said that. And I thought, this is why we joke around a lot on the dais. It takes the edge away.
But what I like the most about it is, we don't always agree.
No, we
And we
don't.
can really debate it out, and we can be half insulting, but we don't take it personal. We
No.
just go for the issue for the good of Dunedin, and moveon.org.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
I just
Mayor.
thought it was the
well,
nicest thing.
I wanted to thank you all because obviously I didn't, have a choice. I had to be in court, so I'm glad to, but Hillary, ever since she's begun working on city matters, really has that passion for that. You guys always say with Dunedin, it's all about the passion. That's what she has for local government law. And now as she's been getting to get to know the city more and the issues and challenges that you're facing, she actually came back so energized from the meeting and getting to learn more about the city and the turtles. We've been working with Paul on the turtle
that's so
mural
funny.
and all of
Darn
that.
turtles.
So she's very much a Dunedin fan and feels as if she's been welcome. So thank you all for that. And I think that you'll continue to see how, she can put her expertise to good use for the city. So
Very good.
yes, thank you.
Just
I'm glad.
Keep
Thank you
bringing
for
us
sharing.
more great women.
Yeah.
Okay,
Men are
we
okay,
are
too.
adjourned.
Men are okay. All righty. Okay.